Hey, this is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Puffy Coats 1140. The Sacramento Kings are back at it again tonight with their road trip continuing in Memphis against the Grizzlies. Our pregame coverage begins with game night at 3:30. Kings Live is at 4:30, and then tip-off is slated for 5 o'clock. There were only a handful of games on the NBA slate last night. It was the Warriors over the Wizards, 126-118. It was Golden State's 9th win in a row. Russell Westbrook had 23 points, 17 boards, and 16 assists, and the Thunder's 122-116 win over the Pelicans. The Blazers downed the Suns 120-106 in the desert, and the Lakers lost their third in a row, 120-105 to the Timberwolves at Staples Center. And the NBA All-Star starters were announced yesterday. Out west, it's Stephen Curry, James Harden, LeBron James, Paul George, and Kevin Durant. Out in the East, it's Kyrie Irving and Kemba Walker in the backcourt. Front court is Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, and Joel Embiid. It's 8:01. Time to get your tickets for the 7th annual Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame induction celebration, Saturday, January 26th at Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Go to SacSportsHOF.com. Those are your top stories. Now it's back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Let's go. This is The Lowdown. Damian Barling and Jason Ross.
We're the first team. We're not going to fall for a banana in the tailpipe.
The Lowdown.
Third and final hour here on this Friday. Third and final hour of the day. Third and final hour of the week. We are so happy you are here with us. Damian Barling along with the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Jason Herbert Walker Ross. You just heard Kyle Madsen there on the update. Doug Christie set to join us here from Memphis in just a heartbeat. We'll talk about your Sacramento Kings and that game tonight. Of course, we are broadcasting live as we have all week on KHTK.com. Jason Ross, the unanimous MVP of the KHTK live stream. We are on T-shirt number 8 right now. Would you like to
Puffy
reveal?
Coat number
I did.
1.
A wardrobe change here for the Lowdown as I put on my sensible puffy coat, which just happens to be the perfect temperature.
See?
Here in the KHTK studios.
Now everybody gets it.
We look ridiculous, I think. I can't imagine what this live stream looks like with two guys indoors in a puffy jackets.
Take my shirt off.
There it is.
Jacket off.
It's a Ross thing you wouldn't understand. Again, this is Jason Ross's 8th T-shirt of the day. Is 10 a big reveal?
No.
I really think the Deuce Morgan and Jason one, that could have been T-shirt number 10.
Okay.
I hope it's a tuxedo T-shirt.
Dude, is it a Doug Christie jersey?
Of course it is.
Or is it a specific steal shot of Doug Christie, perhaps in Sister Code?
Oh.
I try.
Or maybe with a certain Fox? Not De'Aaron? I don't know. With all that said, let's welcome in live from Memphis, Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen, Douglas Dale Christie. Dougie, how's this road trip treating you?
With the exception of one Buddy Hield last 3.8 second shot, not too good, but all is well. All is well.
Well, how'd you spend your time in Memphis? You guys have been hanging out in lovely Memphis. We've all discussed how much everybody loves being in Memphis.
You suck, Jason. That's how we're going to do this right off the bat, huh? Okay. You know what, though? Bobby and I, we went out and got us some barbecue. It was fantastic. We might even go to a different spot because, I want to go where the people go. I don't want to go where, it's quote unquote, I'm air quoting right now, where it's supposed to be good. I want to taste some barbecue. So we've been, hanging out, went to practice yesterday. Guys, it's freaking Memphis. Come on.
Oh, if you were with Bobby, there were cigars involved somewhere, I'm sure, somewhere along the way. Okay, well, let's talk about the Kings here for a minute in this game in Memphis, Doug. I stamped this game about an hour ago as a must-win for the Sacramento Kings, given the way the road trip has gone and given what's ahead on Sunday. I feel like, and you tell me how you feel, we'll have a good idea if the Kings have a legitimate shot at the playoffs by Sunday afternoon.
I would agree with you. I think that we're going to know this evening. I would totally agree that this is the type of must-win because ultimately you still have a chance to end up at 3-3 on this trip. This is a team that you played. I want to say Kings won by 8, Kings won by 3, Kings lost by 7 or something. Or you know what? Kings won by 5, lost by 8, and won by 3. So these games have been extremely close. Each of them had like a 10-point run or something like that. But this is the type of game that this is a team that's reeling, man. They're talking about, the owner has said that they're going to trade Gasol and Conley, or at least they're open for business. Last game, Conley comes out and puts up big numbers. Gasol comes out and gets a triple-double. So they're going to be, you know, like these young players. They're going to play for these guys, meaning that they want to play for their veterans and what have you. So it's going to be a tough ball game. You got to pull this type of game out. And then obviously, guys, to end the road trip off, you're going home. You're not quite home. You're in Los Angeles. The Clippers have owned you. That's the type of game that it's going to be a man-up type of game there.
Doug, the coaching staff, Coach Yeager elected to rest De'Aaron the other day. Maybe a two-parter. Does it look to you like he maybe hit some sort of wall, needed that rest? And then what do you expect from De'Aaron tonight?
I'm going to go backwards. I expect a big game out of De'Aaron. I think that he's going to come out ready to play and ready to roll. I would expect a game probably somewhere in the 20s, maybe even close to 10 assists and some really solid defense with a lot of energy. As far as the resting thing, you guys know I'm not a great proponent of that one. I don't know that he needs rest because ultimately he's going to have to learn how to work through these things. We all did. Today's game, I guess, is a little bit different, and in the metrics and all these different things to talk about rest. But the Western Conference, you know, you got the best of the best when you talk about point guards. You're going to see them on a night-to-night basis. I know this because when I was playing, there was the best of best at the two guards, and had to see them on a night-to-night basis. And you know what? Sometimes you got to chalk it up, lick your wounds, and move on. So, you know, I don't know what to say about the rest thing. It's a bad 4-letter word because sometimes, in my opinion, you guys, rest isn't what's required. Even harder work is what's required. That's not necessarily on the court. You always want to work hard, but you got to get in the weight room. You got to stretch. You got to service your body. You got to figure out what's the recipe for you to play at the highest level for 82 games in a league that is not conducive to weakness. It's just not. It eats it up and spits it out. That's why the best are the best.
Should Marvin Bagley be starting tonight?
That's a good one. I would say so. After his last performance the other night, I mean, obviously career highs. I think, I don't know what you guys see. I see greatness in this kid. I see that he's, you know, he hasn't even cracked the seal in my opinion. You know, he shoots an air ball 3-pointer. That doesn't concern me too much because the point is he's willing to try it. I see that it fits his game. He's Grant asked me a question about him playing behind the 3-point line. The playmaking ability isn't there, but the ability to stretch the floor to that point and put the ball on the deck and get to the basket and finish, ultimately, I think that'll be a part of his game. And a long answer to your question, Damien, yeah, I would. That's what I would do. I understand that Nemanja stretches the floor a little bit differently. I totally get it. And he Nemanja may be better playing off the bench with Bogey, IQ type of players that can really help facilitate one another at the same time. But, yeah, I would start Bagley.
Yeah, and I think what you said, Doug, is perfect because I agree. I think Marvin's got the gifts, and he's not close to being there either, which is so exciting because you talked about, I think he's going to get the 3-point game. If he gets a square-up game and be able to take guys off the dribble, he's already got a lot of good things going for him, and if a off-season of hard work, I think we could be looking at a superstar.
I do too. Listen, when you come into the NBA, I say you don't know what you don't know, and what I mean by that is, like De'Aaron last year. What got De'Aaron to the NBA? You guys, is speed and athleticism. Well, that's what he's going to bring to the NBA. But the NBA then is going to talk back to him and say, well, if you want to be successful, young man, this is what you're going to need to do. And that's what happened to Marvin early on. He thought bully ball down on the block was going to do it, but guys they weigh less than him, and all of a sudden they're not moving because they understand leverage and angles and all these different things. So he's computing and taking all this information. And the way that I see the kid work and how I can tell he wants to be great, I can't even imagine what he's going to be like when he comes back next year with all this information of the things that he needs to address and work on.
Why has this been such a poor road trip for the Sacramento Kings? As you've gone back and watched film of these last couple of days, obviously you're there watching the games live. What really stands out to you about what they're doing wrong? Or not doing well, I should say, sorry.
No, that's fine, David. The inability to defend at a high level for extended periods of time. We've seen them compete for shorter stints, and that's good. That shows us that it can be done. But it's the ability to defend at longer stints, catching first moves, straight line drives, easy baskets for the offensive side. And then I don't know, I'm going to use this word, and I don't know that it's the correct word, but the laziness of not wanting to continue to move the ball and move bodies. That's the only word that I can use, because I can remember being in that situation and going, man, I don't really feel like doing that right now. I get it. I totally understand. It costs a lot, but to whom much is given, much is expected. They've done a lot of things, and now it's the time that it's mentally taxing. I understand. I truly do. But if you want to go where you want to go, these are the things that you got to do. So, Damian, I would say the inability to defend at a high level for an extended period of time, and sometimes the unwillingness to move the ball and move bodies for an entire 48 minutes. And both of those are it's more mental than it is anything. And that's really weird. I know people like mental is 24 seconds. And you'd be surprised. 24 seconds, it's difficult to lock in, and they just have to do it.
Doug, from game one, basically, we all could recognize, just the whole league is doing this, but specifically the Kings, just a different pace, and they were up number 1, number 2 first couple of months. January now they're 14th in pace. How much of that would you weigh on opponents now? I mean, scouting and coaches and game planning. Is it something the other teams are doing more so to slow down the Kings?
I think it's a bit of both, Jason. I think that you're seeing probably kind of high school rules. One guy get back every single time. If it's the point guard, whoever's at the top, make sure you get back. So now that's eliminating the real easy, quick, fast bucket. But also, is it the Kings, and I'm not sure, is it the Kings trying to focus a little bit on defense and understanding that it's harder to play as fast as you want to play when there's the defense that you have to commit to at the other end of the floor as well? I will say this, I don't see that as an excuse, because the Kings with Marvin Bagley and now Harry Giles both playing a little bit, they are 10 deep. And if you got 10 guys, that means that ultimately I guess you're only kind of, and I'm just kind of playing with these numbers, you're roughly playing 24 minutes. So, listen, you're deep enough. You got to figure out a way to do it. And sometimes, you guys, it's not just what my coach would say, pivot pass, tear ass. It's not that one. It's moving the basketball quickly, meaning that you don't have to run up the court really fast with the ball every single time. Pace is played also by passing the ball and moving, and that's what I was just talking about, moving the bodies and moving the ball around the basketball court.
Pivot pass, tear ass. Can we make a note? We're going to make that into a T-shirt.
Oh, for sure.
2019. Definitely make that into a T-shirt. Doug Christie of Sports 1140 KHTK, and, of course, the color analyst for your Sacramento Kings, with us here on the Lowdown, who's filling in for the drive. Got all three shows mentioned in one introduction right there. DC, the trade deadline is approaching here. It's unfair to ask you of a player that the Sacramento Kings should acquire, but what type of player do you think could help this Sacramento Kings team as we head into the final stretch of the season here?
I think when you look at it, initially you might have said, that kind of energy for inside player. But I think that you're getting that from Harry, and I think that you get that from Marvin. I think that what we saw in Toronto is something that the Kings going to have to ultimately address, and that's that outside perimeter 3-and-D type of length that you just go, damn, he's 6'9", and it's difficult to get around that guy, and the tip outs and the running the court and all the different things. So right now the Kings are 6'4", 6'6", on the high end. I don't even know that anyone's really as big as me in that position, where you're talking about Shump and you're talking about Bogey and Buddy. And then you got a guy like Justin Jackson who's beginning to find his way, but that Justin Jackson type of length with even more athleticism, maybe those are the type of guys that I think that the Kings may, need something in that type of area.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Doug, because Coach Yeager will say that a lot in a lot of post games. Whoever team they played, well, we're smaller at almost every position, and he referenced that a lot. And none of the guys are going to grow. How much of an impact are you seeing that have in some of these games then?
Well, it is, because even let's take the Raptors, for instance. You got Danny Green, who's like 6'7", and Danny isn't super athletic. But then you go DeLon Wright, who's about 6'6", and Patrick McCaw, C.J. Miles, 6'7", Pascal Siakam, about 6'8", 6'9". That's what you're looking at. And how does that affect the Kings, I guess, is the question. It affects the Kings because when you're 6'9", you can give 4 more inches of defensive space and still close the gap with your long arms. So ultimately catching the first move is way easier than it is when you're 6'4", and a guy gets his shoulder by your knee immediately, and now it becomes a straight line drive. So you really got to work when you're a little bit smaller. And they try to post you up and different things like that. So that elite size it's really helpful, especially you guys on the one area that I talked about is defensively.
Dougie, we started the conversation with this. You laid out all of the problems that the Memphis Grizzlies are having. Jason and I talked about this earlier in the show. The Kings lose tonight if they don't play well. It's as simple as that. That's where the Memphis Grizzlies are right now in this season. They have been, for lack of a better word, an absolute disaster for going on almost 2 months now. If the Kings play well, they win the game. It's that simple. I want to move forward to Sunday here for a second. You mentioned this a minute ago, Doug. They're getting closer to home. Last game on the road before they're back here at the Golden One Center against the Atlanta Hawks next week. But they've struggled with the Los Angeles Clippers. What do they have to do on Sunday to beat that Clipper team who right now is sitting at the 8th spot in the Western Conference?
This is a Clipper team that really, it's the aggressiveness on the defensive end. They come out defensively and they get after you. So they're going to have to accept the challenge there. And then they're going to have to be a little bit physical. This is a team that gets after you. Patrick Beverly, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with size, Avery Bradley. I mean, those are 3 just lockdown defensive players. Then you add to that Montrezl Harrell, who brings the energy. He has just kind of owned us. Lou Williams scores the basketball. They got a scorer in Tobias Harris that can put the ball in the hoop. So more than anything, you guys, it's the end of a 6-game road trip. You're almost home. You're in your home state. You're in Los Angeles. You got to accept the challenge. You got to come ready to compete right from the get-go, and you got to smack them in the face. And it has to be early, it has to be often, and it has to be a little bit ugly. It has to be draw the line in the sand. That's the type of the Clippers have kind of bullied the Kings, to be honest with you, and it's something that you got to man for man. Like, nah, it's not happening tonight. It's not happening it's a day game, I believe.
Yeah,
it's not happening today, and it's something that you got to deal with. I've played against teams like that, and there's no other way. There ain't no shortcut to get to your house. You got to go right up the street. So I'm sorry, it's what you got to deal with.
Doug, you've seen, well, I think the best teams you haven't seen yet in person with the Kings, I guess probably Philly and Boston, but you've seen everyone else, and then you haven't seen the Warriors yet with DeMarcus in person. But if we took the Warriors out, who is a team that has caught your eye, just with whether it's coaching, style of play, that energy, that all the things they possess? Who is a team out there that you've been impressed by?
Obviously, you said that we haven't seen the Celtics. I like the Celtics. I've watched them on TV. I like what they have. It's just an odd mix at this particular time. But there's 2 teams, maybe 3, and all of them are in the Eastern Conference. The Nets the other night. I love the way that the Nets play. I like their energy. I like I don't know. They just come to play. You can tell. The Bucks were very, very impressive when we played them. I mean, the Kings had a practice the day before, and I truly think they left a lot of their game. It was a really good practice. They left a lot of their game on the practice floor, unfortunately. So we'll have to see them. But that Bucks team with Antetokounmpo running things was impressive. And then the Raptors team, that they continue to come, man. No Valanciunas, no Kawhi Leonard, and you can see that they are deep. I love Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, and those teams. Oddly enough, you guys, I just said 3 Eastern Conference teams. I don't know when the last time that has ever happened in life. And then lastly, I will give a Western Conference team some love. The Denver Nuggets. This is a team with Jokic that they run. They remind me of Steve Webb and Vlade. That dude at the elbow is nasty, man. I mean, he stretches it to the three-point line. He has a feel for the game. Those guys understand how to cut. They're looking to get easy buckets. And then he can go in the post when you want, kind of like what they're saying about DeMarcus and the Golden State Warriors. They're like, well, we never had anything in the post where you can go get a bucket. Well, this Nuggets team, they got all that.
Doug Christie, Grant Napier on the call, NBC Sports Tonight. G-Man, of course, on the call here on Sports 1140 KHTK. Love you, Dougie. Have a great rest of the trip, man. We'll see you when you get back.
Appreciate you guys, man. Have a great day.
All right, Doug. That is Doug Christie there. It's fun listening to guys who you know, and obviously everybody in this market is very familiar with Doug Christie, and we know what his passion was when he played here. We know what his passion was when he played professional basketball, and that's on the defensive end. Mm-hmm. And you see this a lot when you watch football players. Running backs will talk a lot about the run game. Quarterbacks will talk a lot about the passing game. Guys who are in the trenches will talk about, well, the game is going to be won here in the trenches. Doug is going to highlight defense 9.5 times out of 10 because he is watching that significantly closer. Or he almost by nature sees that with a keener eye than he does anything else because that's what he's been watching his entire career.
Yeah, and it's in the NBA that he did that because he transformed. He came in as a gifted scoring athlete, and I think he always tells the story. It was like, you want to get on the floor, you got to play defense. And Pat Riley and others, Isaiah Thomas, different coaches he had, kind of put that in on him. And, he's a role player. Like, how do I get noticed? Well, he figured that out, and then he became one of the league's great defenders, glue guy here. We know his value here. And he could still score and do other things. He's got an ability to do a lot, but that was kind of crafted in the NBA, which is amazing.
And I think it's super important with this Kings team because they run off of stops. Their offense is going to start on that end of the floor. And so I think shoring up that area is going to help them unlock their real potential on the offensive side.
Yeah, one of my favorite things, too, that Doug said, I remember when he was working with us in the postgame, I think, and he said, when the seasons would end, what's next? Like, what should Marvin Bagley do? What should the players work on? And he said his plan was always to work through the finals. So Kings lately been eliminated April 10th, and season's over, and guys probably go on vacation. No, go through the finals because hopefully one day you're going to be a champion. You got to be comfortable with practicing and competing that hard for 2 more months. Have your body ready for that.
Time to enjoy unlimited tastings from 40-plus breweries at Folsom's Winter Brewfest. Tickets at tapfolsom.com. I sincerely apologize. I had a feeling this was happening. I made a mistake. I wanted to give away the Country Mega ticket at the very end of the 7 o'clock hour, and I forgot. So this is what we're going to do here. We got the code word coming up at 8:40. You don't want to miss that. I know a lot of people are at work. They're watching the stream on KHTK.com, and they are listening through the KHTK app. So your clock says right now 8:24. You want to win this Country Mega ticket? Call it 8:30. When your clock hits 8:30, give us a call. You don't have to wait for me to say anything, Kyle to say anything, Jason to say anything. Don't wait to hear anything. The second your clock hits 8:30, that is your next opportunity. That is your opportunity to win the Country Mega ticket. And then 10 minutes later, we'll have the code word for you to enter the Big Game Dream Party presented by Mel Rapton Honda. The Friday Mailbag is coming up next here on The Drive.
Hi there, everybody. This is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. Hey, the Sacramento Kings are back in action after a couple of days off there in Memphis tonight to take on the Grizzlies. We'll have that game for you right here on Sports 1140 with pregame coverage beginning with game night at 3:30. That goes into Kings Live at 4:30, and then tip-off with the G-Man is slated for 5 o'clock. Last night's NBA slate was pretty short-handed. The Warriors played the Wizards in Washington and walked away with a 126-118 win. Golden State has now won 9 in a row. The Thunder topped the Pelicans 122-116. The Blazers were all over the Suns 120-106, and the Lakers dropped their 3rd in a row 120-105 against the Timberwolves. at the Staples Center. The All-Star starters were announced yesterday in the NBA. The West's backcourt is Stephen Curry and Stephen Curry and James Harden. The front court is LeBron James, Paul George, and Kevin Durant. In the East, Kyrie Irving and Kemba Walker are your backcourt. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, and Joel Embiid are the front court. It's 8:30. Time to get your tickets for the 7th annual Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame induction celebration Saturday, January 26th at Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Go to SacSportsHOF.com. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
The final 2 segments here on the drive. We're wrapping things up for today, for the week. You want to send your love to us here on the Jiffy Lube text line, you can. There is someone who is not a fan. They can't wait for Dave to be back. Well, no worries. Dave will be back on Monday.
Absolutely.
Did you confirm that that's not Dave texting in?
Dave definitely read it, and I'm certain that's the happiest he has been since he's been on vacation, is when he read that text that says, "You're a disgrace to the drive." Damn right we are. That's why we're on at 12. We're the lowdown. Yeah. But thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Do you want to do a quick shirt reveal here? Sorry, Kyle, before you jump in. Your 9th T-shirt. The 9th of 10 T-shirts that Jason Ross has been wearing through each of the segments under his perfectly sensible, perfect temperature jacket. And it's the champ. The champ, Chris Verlaine.
Love it. And that's the gray edition. That's an original.
I threw him off. Could have worn the black.
Could have.
I went gray.
I'm really anxious to see what the 10th T-shirt is, as our team is never far from us. We've got the champ in here, a version of the champ. And then Cody Baylor's, we've got the mailbag coming up right here. Time to get your tickets for Folsom's only Winter Brewfest Saturday, January 26th. Details at tapfolsom.com. We got a winner for the Country Mega ticket, Kyle?
Nope.
Okay, good. Yep. All right. We'll work on that next time we're working together. But 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140.
We're about to have one now.
We're about to have one right now.
Lit up.
Just go ahead, grab the winner, tell them to hang on 1 second because we got to transition to the mailbag. So you're just going to have to grab them, tell them to hold on, and we'll come back. Coming up in 8 minutes. The Big Game Dream Party presented by Mel Rapton Honda. Your chance to win a 65-inch television, $2,500 in Lazy Boy furniture, and a $500 gift card to Sprouts Farmers Market. 8 minutes. Your next keyword is coming up. This is your last day to qualify.
Yes.
Dave is going to announce the grand prize winner on Monday. So this is
exciting.
Yeah, this is your last chance to qualify. 840, 140, and 340. So we will have that keyword for you coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
The reason I think the person thinks you're a disgrace to the drive is because there has not been one food-related Mount Rushmore this entire week.
I think he thinks I'm a little narcissistic, which I'm not really going to argue with him.
I was going to say, that's just a fact.
Breaking news here from the text line.
Yeah.
Good suggestion here. Is Jason Ross going shirtless for the final segment on KHTK.com?
He's going to oil himself up and be Jason Gloss.
At Kyle A. Mattson on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, that is at Kyle A. Mattson on Twitter. You want to be a part of the Friday Mailbag? You can send your letters. Jason Ross, courtesy of the Mailbag, 280 Commerce Circle, Sacramento, California, 95815, I believe, is the zip code. We do not accept emails, text, or Twitter messages. These come solely through mail addressed to Jason Ross.
Yeah, it's not the text bag.
It's not the text bag.
Yeah.
It is the mailbag.
Yeah.
Let's get going here since Cody is figuratively with us, and if you were with us yesterday,
Mailbag.
What do we got here, Kyle?
How much of the Pro Bowl will you watch?
I'm going to continue my streak. I have never seen the Pro Bowl.
Not a minute of it?
I probably have passed by and said, oh, the Pro Bowl's on, and maybe seen however long that is on the pass by of changing channels. Over the years, I literally have never seen, besides highlights, I see just a game that's never interested me. I don't know why. I like other all-star games. The Pro Bowl's never been one for me. So I'll continue that streak. I will not watch any.
Me neither. Because, quite honestly, the second we move on to the next question, I'm going to forget that it's happening.
Yeah.
Simple. I will forget.
I was always I'm always in the I don't watch the Pro Bowl, except for my writing job. if one of the players on the team I'm writing about does something significant, I have to write about it. And I was writing about the Titans last year when Delaney Walker caught the game-winning touchdown and was the MVP. I had to not only watch, but write multiple pieces about the Pro Bowl.
Wow. Yikes.
Dude.
So, like, did you have to watch it multiple times, like rewinding certain parts?
I didn't get that far into it, but like, hey, check out this awesome highlight of Delaney Walker. I'm like just catching a pass in a game nobody's trying in.
Brutal.
MVP.
Sucks, dude.
Absolutely brutal.
Mailbag. How much of the blame for Pittsburgh's problems does Ben Roethlisberger deserve? And I'm going to specify the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I believe a lot. Yeah, I don't believe he is responsible for perhaps problems all of Pittsburgh is having. But yes, I do believe that Ben Roethlisberger is a guy who goes on his radio show and trashes his teammates and calls it leadership. He believes he's earned the right to trash his teammates on a radio show because he's been on the team a long time and he's been a captain. I'm not holding Ben Roethlisberger responsible for Antonio Brown's behavior. I'm not holding Ben Roethlisberger responsible for Le'Veon Bell's holdout, but I don't believe that Ben Roethlisberger is immune to where the Pittsburgh Steelers were this season, and that was not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I believe he is very much equally as responsible. And let's not absolve the front office. We're not going to absolve Mike Tomlin.
Right.
There is a lot of blame to go around about what's going on in Pittsburgh, and they're working out a big contract extension for Ben Roethlisberger right now, and I get it. That's how it works. But, he shoulders a lot of the blame of Pittsburgh not making the playoffs this year.
The way Kyle worded it, how much, I don't know, but there's something, if it's a slice of the pie, how are you divvying it up? You're right, it's front office because the Le'Veon Bell thing wasn't handled right. I don't think Antonio Brown, and maybe it's part him too, but Ben is just as culpable. I mean, when you're the leader or said leader, and just there's just too much stuff going on, and he's a part of a lot of that. So yeah, he's certainly very, very responsible for this.
But that contract extension's on the way for Big Ben there.
I mean, I would do that though as well.
Yeah, for sure. He's never had a single off the field issue. Not one. Not twice either. Definitely not the same issue twice. Never suspended for anything.
I think Tom Brady is
standing citizen here in the NFL is Ben Roethlisberger.
I think Tom Brady's the only other quarterback who could go on radio and trash a teammate.
And he doesn't.
Have people be okay with it.
And he doesn't, though.
Can you imagine if literally pick a quarterback? If they went out and did that, they would get dragged for it.
Yep.
And Ben Roethlisberger.
And why is that? Like, why does Ben? Why is Ben absolved? Like, why is he allowed to get away with it?
No idea.
Yeah, me either. That's interesting though. And you mentioned Tom Brady. Tom Brady has a weekly radio show too. Doesn't trash his teammates in it ever.
Shocking.
Roethlisberger does it weekly. Whether it's the offensive line, the defensive line, the running backs, everybody. He's trashed everybody along the way. But let's lock him up for a few more years.
Mailbag. James Harden versus Kawhi Leonard.
That's
not. Hey guys, if you're gonna write questions in, write a question. Like elaborate a little bit.
Yeah,
don't just write two names on it.
Yeah, that was a short letter.
I think that's a game that's going on tonight. James Harden versus Kawhi Leonard. Do you think James Harden's streak can continue? How about that?
Oh, okay. That must have been on the letter. It just wasn't on this.
Yeah.
On this.
Well, if that's the question, will the streak? Absolutely. He's going to get 30 or more.
Against Kawhi Leonard?
Absolutely. If they played one-on-one, both would score on each other because, one, Harden can't stop anybody, but it's really difficult to stop James Harden. But I like that matchup.
Kawhi's rested.
Yeah.
He's missed the last 4 games because of
healthy
load management.
Yeah.
Load management. No, he's healthy. He's just load management.
Okay. Resting him a lot.
He's on the Shumpert plan.
Yes.
He's on the Amon Shumpert plan. James Harden has averaged 43 points over his last 21 games, and I believe it is 52.2 points over his last 4 games. The streak is going to come to an end at some point. I feel like I'm just hot taking it if I say it ends tonight. But if Kawhi Leonard is his primary defender, I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Yeah, I just feel like when it's going to end is when, and it sounds like Chris Paul is close to coming back, and then a few weeks still for Capella. Like when all the pieces are there, when they're not, he's scoring 30.
I think once Chris Paul returns and is healthy enough to take some shots, I think the streak ends.
Okay.
Mailbag. Does Cam Newton's surgery have you worried about his immediate future?
Yes.
Yeah,
it does. And I don't like that. I know we've had a couple of texts say, well, you can do once you could call it an arthroscopic surgery, But once you go in, you could do other things once you get in there. The scope is the camera. You often hear a scope associated with the knee. You go in, you look around, you put the little vacuum, clean up the little particles that shake off from your bones, your tendons, your ligaments, anything that's up there in the shoulder. You clean it up, everything good to go. You look for other things. Okay, that's fine. There was a problem with Cam Newton at the end of the year that leads me to believe vacuuming his shoulder isn't going to fix it. So what was it? Did they perform a scope and find something else and perform some other surgery that they're just not relaying to us? It felt like something was really wrong with Cam at the end of the year. Whether it was something major, I'm not sure, but it felt like it was something major. It's 8:40 right now. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, as soon as we finish up right here, the Big Game Dream Party presented by Mel Rapton Honda, we'll have that keyword for you. When you hear that keyword, you text it to 441140. Again, that's coming up in just a couple of minutes. You worried about Cam?
Yes, anytime surgery, and as minor as it could be, most surgeries go well, but does it lead to something else? Is the surgery, assuming the surgery goes well, but does that mean the recovery and he's the same quarterback, the shoulder strength, all that stuff? Yeah, I would be very concerned.
Yeah, Cam Newton's one of those guys. Dave and I talk about this all the time, how he's just one of those guys. As long as he's on the field, like the Panthers are Super Bowl contenders in my mind, but he did not look like that player this year. So unless
he did for 6 games, which was and
right.
Then he took a very specific hit from someone. I can't remember who it was. I remember someone went back and found it and was like his play, and I can't remember who hit him.
Yeah, he kind of got dragged down and fell
by the
on his
Steelers. It was the game that they got blown out in. And they looked at every play before then and every play after then, and they go, it was this one. Everything changed after this play against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, and if that's going to continue affecting his play into the start of next year, then yeah, I'm very worried about it.
We'll wrap up the mailbag. We'll wrap up the week.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Drive. I'm Cody Baylor from The Lowdown. If you want to give us a follow on social media, you can find myself at Cody Baylor. That's Cody with an I. Jason at JasonRoss1140. Damian at Damian Barling. And Chris at Sac_MCFC. Also, check us out on Facebook and search The Lowdown. Jason and Damian, back to you.
Big Game Dream Party presented by Mel Rapton Honda. That's your chance to win a 65-inch television, $2,500 in Lazy Boy furniture, and a $500 gift card to Sprouts Farmers Market. You've got 3 opportunities to win each day. Your next 2 opportunities are coming up at 1:40 and 3:40 today. Not only are those your next opportunities, those are your last opportunities. If for some reason you missed our 8:40 keyword, we're going to give it to you again right now. This is the last time that we can say it. The word is jump. Like crisscross, they'll make you jump.
Jump.
Or perhaps Van Halen.
Yeah.
He'll also make you jump. Or
the Pointer Sisters.
The Pointer Sisters, they'll make you jump. But only if you do it for their love.
Yeah, exactly.
Jumping.
And I do.
The word is jump. So text that right now to 441140. You must be 21 or over to enter. Also, you have a chance to win a $100 Harris Ranch gift certificate. So text that now to 441140. 1140. Want to thank Doug Christie, who was with us earlier today. He appeared courtesy of the Fire Wings hotline. Try one of their delicious 21 flavors of wings today. Fire Wings, just wing it. If you missed our conversation in our preview, not just of the Sacramento Kings game tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies, but also coming up this Sunday in Los Angeles at the Staples Center. You can catch that on the KHTK app. Head over to the on-demand section. Don't look for the lowdown, though. Look for the drive, because this is the drive. We're filling in for Carmichael Dave, who'll be back with us on Monday. And we'll be back to our normal time slot at 12. I want to thank all of you for hanging out with us here this week, both on 1140 a.m., the KHTK app. And for those who watched along as we set streaming records this week on KHTK.com. The big reveal, the 10th T-shirt of the day.
Yeah.
You don't seem too excited about this one.
I don't know if there was no plan to the order. Just my last one is an homage to my son, the J-Man.
J-Man.
And it's our shirt that we wear when we're the Jaywalkers. For kind of a step up for Down Syndrome Day. And
The Jaywalkers.
The Jaywalkers.
So good.
There is no better final shirt than a tribute to the J-Man, who was watching some interesting programming earlier this morning with Mrs. Ross.
I need to get Jason to do with the puffy coat, do the...
Oh, that'd be solid stuff. Can we get before you do it, Eunice, the executive producer of the KHTK live stream, is there any chance we can get a close-up of Jason Ross doing this For all of those on KHDK.com, the big reveal of the J-Man T-shirt. This is specifically for the people watching on KHDK.com.
Yeah, those people.
You're not going to do it now? Did you want to wait? Oh, there it is. All right. There we go.
Mailbag.
Thank you, Cody.
What do you guys think about A-Rod's chances at the Hall of Fame?
It's an interesting question only because of A-Rod's approach. He was asked about this in, I think it was weird, like Cigar Aficionado magazine or something. Quote from Alex Rodriguez, "There's rules, and you have to follow the rules. I made those mistakes, and at the end of the day, I have to live with those mistakes, whether I get in or not." And let's be clear, I want to get in. I hope I get in. I pray I get in. If I don't, I think I have a bigger opportunity yet again. And the platform of my mistakes, the good, the bad, and the ugly, has allowed me to have a loud voice to the next generation to say, when in doubt, just look at my career. The other message is, maybe I'm not a Hall of Fame player, but I get a chance to be a Hall of Fame dad, Hall of Fame friend. It's Alex Rodriguez.
That's cute.
Not buying it?
No.
He's going the opposite of the Bonds route.
Yeah.
Where Bonds just kind of gave a middle finger and hoped that his stats would talk for him. A-Rod has the stats. He's a Hall of Fame
100%.
player for sure.
Yeah.
But he's going to like, hey man, you know what? I hope I get in, but I'm ready to live with my consequences, and I get to be a Hall of Fame dad and a Hall of Fame friend. Hopes that he gets the, well, you know what? He's sorry, so we'll put him in.
And now that he's on TV, suddenly he's likable.
Yeah, he's getting in.
It's the biggest babyface turn in professional sports history.
It's incredible.
He's getting in?
I think so.
Alex Rodriguez
A-Rod
was the ultimate bad guy
and
for years for the New York Yankees.
And I don't think there's a chance he gets in because of the voters that say, if you're not putting Bonds and Clemens in because of the integrity of the game, that's basically the premise. We're not debating stats. All of them deserve to be in on that. But cheat of the game, cheat of the game, cheat of the game. Technically, some of that stuff wasn't being tested or even policied more so from the league. And we all know that there's managers that put those guys in the lineup. They're in the Hall of Fame, and even other guys that I know are in the Hall of Fame that did some sort of performance-enhancing drugs. But yet A-Rod got caught and suspended for a full season.
Which Barry Bonds never did.
Right. So but then the other one is I hear like Big Papi Ortiz is really well liked, and he also got pinched. He got caught, and people think that he's getting in. Well, he's funny. Oh, it's Big Papi. He's funny. Well, wait a minute. Bonds, you think Bonds cheated? We all do think he did. Clemens, literally, Ortiz did get caught early in his career, and Rodriguez got caught not that long ago.
David Ortiz took a bat to a bullpen phone, and everyone just acts like he's okay. Yeah. That's wild to me.
He's funny.
We just forget about
Roger Clemens threw a broken bat at a Hall of Famer.
Right.
And said he thought it was the ball.
Which I still love that argument because, all right, so is that okay? You were throwing the ball at the runner. When does that happen?
Roger Clemens could have been the PED user to get in because he wasn't suspended for anything, right? Like he was a Mitchell Report guy.
Yeah.
Right?
No, Bonds was never suspended either.
Well, no, I know. But he I don't even think he was a Mitchell Report guy. He had the book. He had the Lance Armstrong downfall. Like a book was written about him. But Clemens, had he taken a different approach, would have been a Hall of Famer. Because I think people loved him during his career. The exact opposite of Alex Rodriguez. People loved Roger Clemens during his career. Then the Mitchell Report came out. Then the misremembered stuff happened.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he is the biggest turd in sports. He's the biggest turd in baseball. Alex Rodriguez, the exact opposite. He retires. He gets a top-notch gig for ESPN. He's dating Jennifer Lopez. And suddenly, he is this insanely charming individual. Where I'm looking at this guy like, I love Alex Rodriguez. This is fantastic. I think Alex Rodriguez is getting in the Hall of Fame.
Wow. I think he is too.
I don't know when, but I think he is getting in the Hall of Fame. I don't know
Hall of Fame dad, Hall of Fame friend, or baseball?
And a Hall of Fame baseball player.
Okay.
There's going to be a shift. I don't know when it's going to be. There's going to be a shift in Major League Baseball Hall of Fame voting where PED users start to get in. And I don't know if Barry Bonds has to go in first. I don't know if Alex Rodriguez jumps out with a big vote the first time he's in the ballot. I don't know what it is, but those guys are getting in at some point. It's a joke that they're not.
I agree with you.
But they are getting in at some point, and maybe Alex Rodriguez is going to be the one who leads that campaign. We got a couple minutes left.
Mailbag.
The story of dysfunction in the Cleveland Browns organization is awesome. What was your favorite part?
There's so many.
They got that mail in quick, by the way.
Did you? They might have dropped a letter off.
Yeah.
They had to have.
I had skimmed through the article yesterday before the show, or I might have read it during the show. I completely missed until after the show. There was some sort of presentation in which a mishap projected porn onto a big screen. A presentation that was happening with all of the football people. That's a pretty salacious detail of the story. I still don't think it's as good as a boss walking in to an employee's office, the employee being fired, and then the employee telling the boss to get the F out of his office.
That's the best.
Yeah.
I don't know that anything can be better than that.
For sure.
That's my favorite story, and I'm going to ensure that story gets told forever. Like, I don't think Hugh Jackson should be a head coach anymore, but that's an awesome story.
I think this one is specifically for Jason. You talk about letters getting in quick.
Mailbag. Tiger Woods. He's 2 under. Who's ready to overreact, Jason?
What does that mean?
Damian, is Jason ready to overreact?
Yes, Jason is absolutely ready to overreact.
He didn't let me down last year.
One time out of how many he didn't let you down?
Well, it's impossible to win every tournament. He's back. He is back. He played the more difficult of the courses at Torrey Pines, and 2 under. So I think he's like 60th. He's everybody that's above him. Not everybody. Most of the people that are above him played the. I can't remember if he played the North and the South has played easier or the other way around. But he's playing the easier of the lower scoring of the two today. So he needs to have a good round today to be not only make the cut but into the mix. And yeah, I'm excited for a full season of Tiger Woods.
I like him.
Yeah.
I like him. All right, he is 2 under. Thank you so much for being with us here this week on The Drive. Jason and I will be happy to be back with Chris and Cody next week at noon on The Lowdown, where we belong. If you want to catch up on some of the live stream stuff that we did, head over to KHTK.com. Eunice, you are definitely the hero of this show, making sure that live broadcast, that streaming broadcast is produced at a brilliant rate. Thanks to Cody Baylor for all the work that she did. Kyle Mattson, fantastic. Always fantastic to work alongside with you. For Jason Ross, I'm Damian Barling. Have a great weekend. We will see you Monday at noon.
The Sacramento Kings road trip continues tonight in Memphis.
Great. Marvin Bagley, the rookie.
Kings and Grizzlies.